Now, shifting gears here, this is something that is a lot less real. There's no patents. There's barely even there's no paper trail for this, but there are rumors flying around right now that Sony is working on a new handheld. We've said repeatedly on this show that we would love it if Sony made a new handheld. The PSP is great. The Vita is amazing. We love those things. The Steam Deck is out there right now. The Switch is out there right now. Those are both examples of how you can do a great handheld in, this present age of gaming. So it would be kind of cool if Sony, threw their hat into the little handheld ring. But the rumors going around is there's something called the Q-Lite, which is not exactly what we think of when we want a handheld. Typically, you sort of think of something that's portable. You let you take your gaming on the go. This is pretty much the opposite of that because it is strictly for remote play with the PlayStation 5. So it requires a constant, stable internet connection. In most cases, it sort of seems like this would be more for just playing your PS5 from within the house. It honestly just kind of sounds like a Wii U. And again, this is completely just this is not corroborated. This is not official. This is very vague rumors, but people are talking about it, so I figure we could discuss a little bit.
It's for the people like that who want to play their games on their phone with a controller or their iPad,
well,
and they have the giant TV that's sitting there just turned off.
But then also don't have a phone or a controller, right? And need a new device.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's this is the classic like who is this for question, right? And there it is. So we just showed if you're watching or you're listening, PlayStation partnered with a company called Backbone, which I love the stuff they make. They make one thing, which is very, very awesome. It is a basically a controller grip for your phone, and you can use it to remote play into your PS5 or your Xbox, or do xCloud stuff, or play native iOS games using real buttons and sticks. And it's got shoulder buttons. Everything's like really, really awesome controller. And they made a PlayStation official one last year that's white, and it looks gorgeous. It looks in line with all of the PS5 branding and everything they've done. And so like that exists. That solves that problem, which is for a very small group of people who are like, I'd love to remote play to my PS5 on the couch while someone else is watching the TV or whatever it is, whatever case use is there. Sony hasn't like historically or recently dabbled in cloud gaming very much in the same way that like Xbox has been like, hey, your entire Game Pass library is on xCloud, go enjoy. Sony like kind of pioneered that like a decade or so ago. They got really into like the Gaikai stuff, and they were like really pushing for this for a minute and then kind of pulled back. So there's an opportunity for that to be a thing. Like I know we recently got that Logitech device that's effectively a Steam Deck that is just for cloud streaming. It's got native onboard SD card on it if you want to put ROMs and stuff, but for the most part, like you can't just download a bunch of games on Steam and play them there. Everything is streamed. And so I guess they're going for that, but it doesn't seem like that made a splash. So I don't really understand why this would be a thing. Like this
that thing came out shortly before Stadia was officially put to sleep. Like I think that thing had on the box like, it works with Stadia, and then Stadia was like, Stadia doesn't work with Stadia. So that's an issue. But again, like this shows like this feels like trying to meet a demand for something that doesn't yet exist, but also misses the point of what the thing it's trying to sell you in the first place. Like remote play, it's cool, but the whole thing that works there is like what they show you in that trailer is like, use your existing controller with your laptop or your tablet. Or I think the Backbone is a great compromise there, where it's like a company that is good at making peripherals for mobile devices partnering with a company that makes the infrastructure that you're using to access that. But it also it's so funny to me that Sony would be working on this. And again, completely hypothetical. This could all turn out to be total BS, but it's like Sony makes tablets, Sony makes phones. It blows my mind that they don't sort of team up on that and maybe like, oh, like here's the ultimate pairing. It's a Backbone and a Sony phone. It's the PlayStation package. It's the Xperia Play version 2.0, whatever. But like everyone, I think cloud gaming is awesome. That is the future, but it's totally antithetical to the idea of buying new hardware. The whole point is using hardware you already have. Like the whole thing with cloud gaming is that it's in the cloud. It's not on a device you have with you. So if you're going to buy a new device, you'd kind of hope that would do some of the heavy lifting itself and not just exist to access something far away. So I really, really hope this isn't a real thing, because I feel like we're all just going to be sitting here collectively face palming over it.
No, cloud gaming is like a additive feature to native console gaming, right? It is a bonus to me. Like if I can have my games downloaded on my PS5, but then I can also cloud stream them, then cool, that's awesome. Give me the flexibility, give me options. But to create a device that only funnels you into one of those options is like fundamentally missing the point. It's also like we saw with Stadia, consumers weren't willing to spend $70 on just cloud streaming a game. Like you do want some sense of ownership there. And so like it's got to be able to speak with your PS5 better. If they did a thing where you could natively onboard, save and load PlayStation games, like maybe access your entire PlayStation Plus library or PlayStation Now, that kind of stuff. And then you could also play all the games that they've ported to Steam, which at this point is, Returnal, The Last of Us, Uncharted, Spider-Man's. There's tons of stuff there that like they're already putting on systems that work as handhelds, right? Like most of their games, aside from The Last of Us, which stumbled recently, have communicated really well with PC. And so like there is an option to take those games and put it on a native handheld, but not as just a cloud streaming thing. Because like if you're on an airplane and that airplane takes off and you can't play Returnal anymore because it's not connected to the airport Wi-Fi, like you've completely missed the point of selling a portable device.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cloud thing is there is a future where cloud streaming makes sense as a portable solution to gaming because you're not lugging your entire console with you. But when you're going between point A and point B, like, I don't know, if you're at grandma's house and grandma has decent Wi-Fi, maybe you're going to stream something on your phone. However, if you're on the train or on the plane or you go getting from your house to grandma's house and it takes a minute, you're bored at an airport, it doesn't really make sense to have something that requires a stable internet connection, at least not right now. Maybe someday that'll be a non-issue, but like, I don't know. I feel like we're very much, if you're gonna shell out money for a portable gaming device, that thing needs to be functional when it's portable. Like it has to be, you have to be able to use it wherever you're going, not just in certain spots that it may be supported. That's just
we saw that with the Vita, because there was the option when when it first launched to get the one with the 3G, I think it was at the time. You could get the 3G service and you could pay to have a chip to that and pay. I think it was through AT&T if I remember right. Yeah, and so like they took that kind of into consideration. I feel like that was kind of their first step for kind of like testing the waters for doing that, for being able to stream, or not stream necessarily, but download and play online outside of the house on a handheld. And I feel like if this doesn't do something along those lines, like you're saying, of having some like fallback to be able to play when you're not connected to the internet, it's dead in the water.
Well, I mean, I love that, like, prior to the Vita coming out, there was the weird little PlayStation phone, which was it was like the Sony Ericsson Xperia Play that flipped out and you could play some games on it, but it wasn't designed primarily for gaming. And then you had the Vita, which you could get a 3G plan with through AT&T, but it wasn't a phone. So it was like, maybe
let's talk to each other in the meetings. Let's get these departments together and
more water coolers and let people have some chat in that big business. Just let them hang out with each other. Again, it's
well, this is a rumor, so we can leave it at that. Like honestly, I feel like I would question the strategy if this were true, just because we just got some PlayStation hardware with the PSVR 2, and we talked about this in our meeting yesterday, how like as someone who's a VR enthusiast, like I've PSVR 2 got me back into VR. I told y'all about what I've been hooking up, pimping out my Quest 2, even though like I pretty much cursed it like weeks ago. But
I told you not to hit it with a hammer.
I'm glad I didn't. I am so glad I didn't destroy it. But the thing is, like, the reason I got back into my Quest 2 is because there's significant lack in games being announced and released on the PSVR 2. And so I would like to see more support being thrown at the PSVR 2. Like, it's not to say that I wouldn't want like a PlayStation handheld, but I feel like that's like, if the rumors are true, it's scheduled to come out sometime in 2024 before the, again, also rumored PlayStation 5 Pro, if I'm reading this correct. Like I want at least like let's give a year or two support to the PSVR 2. Sales aren't doing too well right now, so how about we just support what we currently have on the market?